You've got a smartphone in your pocket, right? And you probably trust it with, well, pretty much everything. We all assume that a lock screen or Face ID basically turns it into a private vault. But what if that whole feeling of security is just an illusion? Today, we're going to dig into why your phone might not be nearly as safe as you think, and then we'll look at a completely different way of thinking about digital security. And man, this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? We see our phone as this personal tool that works for us, but from the ground up, it's really designed as a data machine. Even when that screen is dark and it's sitting on your nightstand, it's working. It's collecting information in ways we don't always see or agree to. So let's talk about this security illusion. We've all been kind of trained to think that things like fingerprint scanners and complicated passcodes are the ultimate in personal security. And look, they're great for stopping someone who physically picks up your phone from snooping through your texts. But they do almost nothing to protect you from the much deeper, systemic problems that are built right into the device itself. I mean, just think about it for a second. Your phone is constantly pinging cell towers, looking for Wi-Fi, pulling in notifications, and running who knows how many background processes for all your apps. It's a non-stop hive of activity. So this idea that it's sleeping when the screen is off, it's just not true. And all that constant chatter is where the real privacy risks are hiding. And this gets us to the really crucial point. These weaknesses aren't just accidents or bugs. In a way, they're part of the design. See, modern mobile operating systems, your iOS, your Android, they were built from day one for convenience and a seamless user experience. But in the race to make everything super easy and connected, absolute security kind of took a back seat. Your phone's OS is a lot like an iceberg. The apps and settings you see are just the tiny tip. Underneath the surface, there's this massive, complex world of closed-source code that no one outside the company can really inspect. There's a baseband processor that's basically a whole other secret computer inside your phone, and all these telemetry services that are constantly sending data back to the mothership, often without you even knowing. Okay, and this is where things get genuinely creepy. It's something called a zero-click exploit. It's exactly what it sounds like, and it's a hacker's dream. An attacker can break into your device without you doing a single thing. You don't have to click a bad link. You don't have to download a weird app. Your phone can get hacked just by receiving a specially crafted message or a data packet. It's terrifying proof that even if you're the most careful user in the world, the system itself can betray you. So if the fundamental design is the problem, how do you even begin to fix it? Well, you can't just keep adding patches to a system built on a shaky foundation. You have to start over. You have to change the entire philosophy of security. And that begins by asking a totally different question. And this is it. This is the question. What if, from the very first line of code, an operating system didn't trust anything? What if it treated every app, every connection, every single process as a potential threat? What if privacy wasn't just another setting buried in a menu, but the absolute, non-negotiable bedrock of the entire system? This one shift in thinking changes everything. And that question leads us to something called Graphene OS. Now, this isn't just another flavor of Android. It is a completely re-engineered, hardened operating system built entirely on that zero-trust philosophy. The best way to think about it is like this. It's designed to be a digital fortress, not a digital shopping mall. So here's the core difference in a nutshell. A standard operating system, like the one on your phone right now, is built on trust. It gives all kinds of special privileges to services and apps by default. Graphene OS completely flips that around. It assumes nothing is trustworthy. For example, it rips out all the deeply integrated Google services. And even if you decide to install them yourself, Graphene OS treats them just like any other app, stuck in a sandbox with no special keys to the kingdom. One of its most powerful weapons is something called aggressive sandboxing. Here's how to picture it. Imagine every single app on your phone lives inside its own locked, windowless room. It can't see the rest of the house, it can't talk to the apps in the other rooms, and it can't mess with the phone's foundation unless you, the user, personally walk over and unlock a specific door for a specific reason. So if a bad app somehow gets in, guess what? It's trapped in its room. The damage is contained. But here's the thing. You can't build a fortress on a foundation of sand. All this amazing software security needs hardware that can actually enforce the rules. And that's exactly why Graphene OS only runs on Google's Pixel phones. Pixels have a special security chip and something called verified boot, which literally checks the software for tampering every single time you turn the phone on. It makes the whole system incredibly tough to break. Okay, this all sounds amazing, right? A digital fortress in your pocket. But let's be real for a second. This level of security and control, it doesn't come for free. There is a trade-off here, and it's super important to understand that this is not for everybody. To get this much control back, you have to be willing to give up some of that seamless convenience we've all gotten so used to. Look, mainstream operating systems are built to be effortless. They want to keep you in their ecosystem where everything just works. Graphene OS, on the other hand, makes you the administrator. It forces you to make conscious choices about what your apps are allowed to do. On a normal phone, privacy is a feature. On Graphene OS, it's the foundation. And that means, yeah, some things might not work right out of the box. Your banking app might complain, or you might have to find a workaround from push notifications. It's a real shift from being a passive consumer to an active manager of your own device. So who is this actually for? Well, it's absolutely essential for people whose digital life is literally a matter of safety. We're talking investigative journalists, activists, cybersecurity researchers. But you know what? That circle is getting wider. It's for crypto users, for ethical hackers, and honestly, it's for anyone who is just plain tired of being the product, of being tracked by default every second of every day. And this all brings us to the final and maybe the most important idea we're going to talk about. The whole debate about privacy always gets bogged down by one single flawed argument. You've heard it a million times. If you're not doing anything wrong, you've got nothing to hide. But that completely, utterly misses the entire point. Let that just sink in for a minute. That whole nothing to hide argument. It's a trap. It's a distraction. It cleverly puts the burden on you, the individual, to justify your basic right to privacy. But the conversation should never have started there in the first place. This is the question we should be asking. How in the world did we get to a place where constant 24/7 monitoring by giant corporations and governments is just normal? When did we all collectively agree that our conversations, our movements, our private thoughts were just commodities to be harvested and sold? And in the end, what a project like Graphene OS really proves is that another way is possible. Privacy isn't dead. Real security isn't some impossible dream. But in the world we live in today, they are no longer the default setting. They have become an active, conscious choice. The tools to take back your digital life are out there, but you have to be the one to seek them out, to learn them, and to choose to use them. So what choice are you going to make?